No.
Hello, everybody. Zero interest.
Welcome back to Zero Interest, the show where we talk about things.
5 episodes today. It's been a long recording session. So
I want to get through season 2 so I can buy the album.
what's the over/under on us recording again tomorrow?
I can record tomorrow. Yeah, let's do that. Let's finish off at least season 2 tomorrow. How about that?
I think we can do
Recording.
that. Yeah, sure. Why not? All right.
After that, free. Basically,
episode 10, season 2, just to get that.
Yeah, Mountain Glen. We start with good old General Ironwood, and he's staring out menacingly at the distance.
Arm was acting up.
Of course. So logically, you got out of bed, dressed yourself completely, and decided to gaze menacingly out into the distance. What's wrong?
What's up, bro? And there's a moment I really wasn't expecting this, but seeing that she is like actually kind of friends with him.
Yeah.
Like
the implication is it's Wizard of Oz. He is the wizard.
Yeah.
She is the good witch of whichever direction. He is the Tin Man. You will see the Scarecrow later.
Yeah.
You will see the Cowardly Lion later. But yes, they are all very, very much allies. They are in cahoots.
Yeah, but it's just like until this point, you really like whenever she's around him, she's usually arguing with him or rolling her eyes when he asks her to dance, even though she danced with him anyways.
People do that. Friends do that.
But yeah, but the thing is, we didn't really get to see a moment where they're like actually like, where she's actually just kind of being gentler with him, I guess. Or like, listen, just trust Ozpin. And he's like, but he's not like giving us all the information. It's like, trust me, we're like the people with the most information. All right, just.
And doesn't that that say it all? Is basically what he's thinking.
Yeah. So, she's just show you that you trust him a little bit more. I know you think he's being passive, but just give him a shot. And I really like that interaction between the two of them because it really it puts into like you said, friends do that where they just kind of like argue and then they like roll their eyes at each other. But I didn't get the implication that they actually were friends, which in hindsight adds that like subtext to those previous things until this part. I mean, even if you say it's obvious with the names, it wasn't really shown.
True.
So, because they could subvert it however they wanted to.
I mean,
so
Ruby was supposed to be Red Riding Hood, but at some point she became Dorothy. So
she can be both.
You can't always trust the supposed roles they're in to actually stay consistent with the characters that they're portraying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ruby is kind of both. I'm expecting at one point like a giant wolf monster to appear that she has to fight, the big bad wolf. And I'm expecting it to have something to do with her mom. Because that would be like, how Red Riding Hood, like her grandma gets eaten by the wolf. And then like she goes, and then the huntsman comes and kills the wolf. And cuts it open, and the grandma comes out. In some variations.
If it happens, it hasn't happened yet, so don't know.
I'm expecting her mom to be like in the belly of some big bad wolf somewhere. I don't know.
Could be.
Like,
we also don't know that. But yeah, Zero figured out that Ruby is Dorothy, and why I said that earlier this episode. So.
Toto.
Yeah.
She has the dog. That's all really like. Yeah.
She is being guided by the Good Witch and the Wizard of Oz pin. And she has a dog.
Yeah.
And she is currently not in Kansas anymore. So
There's that too. So we cut from them to Ruby's like looking at some Grim through her scope, and she's just like having a nice little relaxing night. She's on watch, and everybody's asleep, except they're not, because Yang wakes up and she's like, "Hey, like,
yeah, she is that sleeping partner."
Yeah, you still thinking about what he said, and we get more character stuff, which I love character stuff. Yeah. So we get Weiss is like, "Look, I know my company has a bad rep. I know, it's my dad's fault, and I don't want our legacy to end with him on that sour note. So I became a huntress because I want to try and fix that. I want to make my company actually decent again.
I want our name to mean something other than human rights abuses, foreign rights abuses, and shady business dealings." So,
which is yeah, I like that. That was a good way to really expand on her character.
Yeah, there was an episode recently of World of Remnant where it just talked all about the Schneedust Company, and it was basically all her grandfather that just built it up from nothing. So
yeah. And so then we see, we hear a little bit from Blake, and Blake's like, I always freaking run away, and that's just what I am. That's my freaking semblance is me running away. And we talked about this a little bit.
I said it doesn't really talk about that much, but it actually does talk about it in the very next episode. Oops. But,
But yeah, she runs away a lot, and that really affects her own mindset of like, can I actually do this, or will I just end up running away again? And she briefly mentions Adam from the trailer. I think this would be the first time you get his name.
Nope, technically. Said in the trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
I must have missed it.
The reveal that he wasn't just her partner, he was also her mentor, and she very gradually saw the shift in him from not necessarily peaceful operations, but, neutral to more and more aggressive over time.
Yeah.
And she probably isn't entirely sure whether he was always aggressive and just, towing the party line, or if he just became that way over time. And she just wasn't.
I'm expecting this Adam guy to show up, and I'm expecting this Adam guy to show up in a future season. I feel like he'll be like very important. Probably, hopefully. Like, I went back and watched the trailers before. His voice actor isn't that great. He only says a few things, but they come off.
The trailer. I don't think he was that bad when he shows up in the show. He does show up in the show.
Okay.
He wasn't that bad.
Well, that's good to hear then, because it was just like, like trying to make your voice deeper and more aggressive, but like not doing it well.
What about the passengers? What about them?
It's like, no, it's not like what about. It's like, what about them? Like kind of like it's not solid. There's like, you can hear like there's a normal voice just trying to do it rather than it being that way naturally.
It's like someone trying to do an impression of cartoon malevolence. It's the over-the-top evil voice that you do when you're trying to sound evil. Kind of thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, hoping to see better voice acting from him. And I'm glad to hear that there's no noticeable problems.
I didn't really notice whether his voice was good or bad.
Then that's good. That's good. If you notice, that would be a problem. If it was like, if you noticed it was bad, because I noticed right off the get-go for that. And then we move on to Yang, who's like freaking I like she's again like we discussed earlier. Like my stuff, I just really wanted to have a life of adventure. Huntress just lined up with that, and there's really nothing more. And it's probably focusing on saving people, but you know, I'm not like Ruby, and Ruby just she always wanted this, wanted to be a huntress. But basically, they come to the conclusion of focus on saving people and killing Grimm first. Other stuff will have to be second priority.
It's the life we chose.
It's a job. We all had this romanticized vision of being a huntress in our heads. But at the end of the day, it's a job to protect the people. And whatever we want will have to come second.
They say
Which
Ruby's just a kid, but, you know, we're all kids.
Yeah.
But look at where we are. We can't call ourselves kids anymore. Which, yeah. And ties in with the, hey, this is basically a university setting, not a school setting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice tone shift.
Yeah.
And I hope that, like, I don't expect all the high school hijinks and crap to go away entirely, but I hope that there's more of that underlying of this is serious, at least.
Yeah. Because
there's probably going to be, yeah.
It's time to say goodbye to the things we loved in the innocence of youth. You could say. Theoretically. If you were interested in quoting song lyrics, perhaps. I don't know whether this looking through the corner of my eye is coming through on the camera or whether it's even on camera, but that's what I'm going for, so, you know.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for that lyric drop. No, it's...
I considered singing it, but apparently my voice is shit. Kenshi.
They're gonna... This is... Like, this season has had a lot of fluff so far, and... But beneath that, there's been a lot more seriousness, and we need to take this seriously than in the previous season.
Like I say, the pacing is strange and kind of off, and there's a lot of fluff that doesn't really belong in certain points of it. And
yeah,
but the meat that's there is some of the most important in the entire show.
It's very much about maturing and being able to not just like we can have our fun little dance and everything, but at the same time we have to realize what's at stake.
Yeah, like there's events that happen that move the plot forward later on. They're important, but this is the important material. This is the stuff that has meaning to it beyond just now this is happening. Now this has changed everything because this has happened and now we have to move on and do something else. Fine, plot. Moving forward, that's great. I'm not going to lie. When I first saw Season 2, I complained that there wasn't enough of that. It's not an entirely invalid complaint, but what is there is... Quite frankly, it's starting to seem way more important, again, in hindsight. So...
Like, there's definitely lots of building blocks in this season for things that can continue to go onwards, and you need to have that season where people really start to mature and realize things are going to be serious before things actually get serious, and like things start just going to hell. Because I have a feeling that like that's what we're building up to with people. Like things are going to be serious. Well, you're going to have to show that at one point that things are going to really affect people.
That is coming up very soon. There is an example of that that's coming up very soon. There is another example that comes up later where they had to say, hey, they actually had to have a message in the episode saying, like, hey, we know a lot of you guys out there, you watch RWBY, it's like a kid show. You watch it with, your younger family members. Maybe you should probably start watching the episodes first before you let them watch them from now on.
Ooh.
So, yeah, that happened at a point.
All right. So, that's actually... Okay, I like that. Because, like, you can't set it up for... There's a lot at stake here, and then go back to high school hijinks. Like, you have to make enough of a departure from it to the point where it's like, yeah, we're having fun, but at the same time, like, there's things that need to be taken more seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't have humor, but you gotta find more balance. A different balance, rather. So, anyways, after their discussion, I mentioned Yang wanted to be a thrill seeker. She's like, this is kind of shallow. So, after their very long discussion, by the way, it takes up like half the episode. Ruby's like wakes up and she's like, "Oh, Swy's running out. I better go, get him." And then she sees
Zwei decides that he needs to go pee behind that pillar in particular.
Zwei! Huh? Zwei, this is a wasteland. You literally could have done that anywhere.
What was that?
Yeah. Good old Zwei. And so she sees a White Fang member and she's like, "Oh, there we go. Found him. I should probably go." Like, she's following them. Like, I found where they are. I need to go get the others. And she goes and runs to get the others because she has poor cell phone reception. And, obviously poor cell phone reception would be a thing in an abandoned town that nobody's supposed to be in. I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's shaky.
Like,
especially,
again, there was another World of Remnant episode where they talk about the CCT, the communications tower. And apparently that actually gives signal quite a ways out. So, ish.
Either they're really far, or it has something to do with the
or the block
with
signal.
what? Yeah. That would probably be the more rational assumption of they're blocking the signal, because if people get here, they don't want to have them report back. They'd rather be able to capture them, deal with it. So she falls into a hole as she's running back.
Huh?
It's a very jagged, not good-looking hole, but she falls in because plot. That felt weird, that sequence.
Yeah,
because
you're not wrong.
Those guys walked past that spot, I'm pretty certain.
They did, and she weighs a hell of a lot less than they do. But, whatever.
I mean, even if you say, oh, it's her scythe, well, her scythe's outside of the hole when she falls. And, like, even then, her scythe can't weigh more than 2 people.
No, it can't. It can't weigh more than the difference between her weight and one of those guys' weight. Like, that's like 50 pounds. Minimum.
So, yeah, because of plot reasons, she falls. And, oh, hey, she gets captured because she doesn't have a weapon, because she threw it up there along with the dog.
For some reason.
Either she dropped it or I don't know. But
I think the implication was she was trying to throw it out so her hand would be free and then she could climb out, but
yeah,
didn't make it.
Should have thrown the dog first.
Yeah.
And then you could grab on with your scythe and use the gun thing to shoot yourself back up.
Putting a hole in the floor that has a hole in it is probably not great. Like, hey, this floor crumbled underneath me. I know, I'll hit it really hard so that I can get grip.
No, like she could do the like shoot herself up, like use the momentum, just shoot it down below her, like she tends to do. Well, with her moving in midair by shooting her sniper scythe.
No,
That's a thing that happens.
it is.
But anyway, that aside, she gets captured by White Fang guys because she's just a little girl without her scythe, and
Basically,
they're
I mean, if
pretty
everyone
strong.
in the situation has aura, has the requisite superpower, then yeah, she is. It's basically just no one has the superpower, and she is a 15-year-old girl, and he is a fully grown dude that has been fighting for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, her semblance is speed. She could have done something with that, maybe. Run away really quick.
Backed into a corner. Well, I say corner, I mean ledge. And two guys are directly in front of her, and her semblance is running in a straight line.
Run through them. I don't know. She gets captured. And, oh, hey, it's Torchwick. They bring her to Torchwick.
Hey, boss! Found something you might want to see.
Is it good or bad, Perry? Because, let me tell you, I have had a day.
It's a little girl?
That would be bad.
And he's awesome. Also, the lieutenant has glasses over his mask, and I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I really don't understand that. And then the other people come in and the teacher.
News, Perry, because I am having a hell of a day.
So we found a little girl. That is bad news. So, everybody else finds. Oh yeah, she went in. She found the hole. We have to go save her. And Dr. Professor Teacher Man Speedy Gonzalez is like, okay, well, okay. So underground is where the Mount Glen is down there, basically.
Help?
Yeah.
Okay. So, caves. Oh, caves! I'm an idiot. All the people went into we were building a subway tunnel so that we could get from the main area of the kingdom to this extra area that we were just building. So, while they were building this, they managed to find some Grim, and that was bad. So they decided to just try and collapse all the tunnels and try and get away. But that didn't work, and an explosion happened, and everyone tried to hide underground in the caves that they were building, but an explosion happened that let Grim in, and the city of Vale decided to collapse the tunnels and leave them in a tomb.
Basically, everyone was trapped inside a big mountain with Grim, or not a mountain, a big underground cave with Grim, and they all presumably got slaughtered.
Yeah.
Or starved, or whatever.
It became the world's largest tomb.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Lots of skeletons
the city
down
of
there.
Vale decided they had to cut their losses. They had to cut an entire city's worth of losses.
Yeah. That's the kind of world they live in.
Yeah.
And that's something that you should keep in mind going forward. You know, it's like, we didn't get this stuff in season 1. Because season 1 was, as you mentioned, very experimental. It was very, like, short. And they didn't really delve into the world as much. But with what they're doing to really establish this, like, in these past couple episodes, this is what the world outside is really like. And this is how we have to deal with things, makes it much more interesting as a setting.
The way the director and creator and writer have described it, this is like the first act of a JRPG. You know, you have Chrono Trigger, for example. You start and you're going to the fair. And you get to run around the fair and do all the interesting stuff, and it's cool and fun, just lighthearted, nice times. And then something goes wrong, and it's I mean, it's still kind
You
of
get
light
stuck
and
in a
fun
time machine.
sometimes, you know.
And then
hijinks,
you-
oh no, we're going into the past, and oh, that princess has become like, you know, she's impersonating the queen. Oh, you rascal! And then she's disappearing from the timeline, being erased from existence, and now you're being framed for murder and kidnapping, and everything gets a lot less upbeat very slowly.
And then you realize that there's something that's going to end all timelines and everything.
Yeah.
And and destroy the world. Like, going to the
then you get
future
to the
is
future. Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to that point yet, but we're
No,
getting there.
that's what I'm like I mentioned before, like, we have to be building up to something really big happening. Like something serious, like a bigger tone shift. Like,
That
we're
was
already
a
kind of...
surprisingly apt metaphor or comparison that I just pulled out of my arse in the last second, so I'm proud of that myself.
That is actually, like I'm not gonna... Like, Chrono Trigger is, like, at the future that you go to, it's literally, like, the end of the world.
Yeah.
The population is so... Like, there's so few people left alive, and they just live in these, like, little run-down, broken buildings.
Little biodomes. That's all the safe space they have left, and they are living on scraps of old, rotting food. Everyone's going to be dead in a generation, if not sooner.
Yeah. It's really dire. So, it's...
But we're not there yet, so let's bring it up a bit, shall we?
Yeah, well, the episode we already talked to the end of it. There's not much more beyond.
Yeah. Oobleck points out, hey, we're not looking for an underground crime network. We're not looking for an underground crime network because they're using the tunnels.
Yeah. Nice little touch there.
It was clever.
Again,
it's kind of clever. They like, the term underground crime network is called that. It was coined literally because they used to work underground. But, you know, whatever.
The ruins of this ruined city that they're in, the one above ground and one below ground, I feel like there's going to be some pretty awesome action scenes with destroying ruins. Because, like, one thing I like about ruins is that you can cause a lot of destruction, mayhem, and nobody innocent gets hurt. If there's a fight scene at all.
Not to my memory.
Oh.
There is stuff coming up. It is the
Yes,
finale, after all, the next 2 episodes, but not quite what you think.
I want more giant robots. I want, like, send in all the giant robots, all the mechs that they have, and they just...
I think that happens, but I might be misremembering.
Because, like, they beat one, right? But, like, I want...
Cool stuff happens, just trust me, okay?
Okay, I'll trust you on that. Anyways, that's it for the episode. My back is hurting, and I want to go lay down now.
I kind of want to sleep. It's like 10 p.m. Just bear with me. It's 10:15 p.m. So, yeah, and I have to get up in the morning. So, thanks for watching. We'll be back with more in future, which is all I say because I don't know the schedule of these anymore. We're so far ahead, it's ridiculous. Like, we haven't... Full disclosure, this was recorded on... I think it's the 10th.
9th.
Sorry. 9th of January. At this point, you could have believed I was going to say the 9th of February. You wouldn't know, because we're that far ahead. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got like 15 episodes recorded of this. So, yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
All right. Bye.